Hey guys, so we are in Unit 3. This unit is it's called Ag, Food, and Natural Resources in Context. Really, it is over the history of agriculture and some of the challenges that have been faced and struggles and how we've gotten to where we are today. So it says in this unit, we're going to talk about the history of ag, explain changes that occurred in the ag revolution, recognize differences between developed and developing world, and understand potential failure or future developments in agriculture. So you have a discussion to do first. So the discussion is, what ag techniques have you witnessed firsthand, whether on a modern commercial farm or a home garden? Were they high tech or low tech? What type of work was involved? So I can think of a really low tech technique would be using a garden hoe to remove weeds from a garden. That's very low tech, okay? That's just using a hand tool. And then I've seen a very high tech whenever we were baling hay using a tractor. It had an automatic um, monitor in it that would tell me how much moisture was in that hay, whether it was dry enough to bale or not. And it would also keep track of how many bales it had done and how fast. That would be very high tech. So there are some differences. You may have only seen low tech or high tech. You may have not seen any. Milking a cow by hand, that would be low tech. Milking a cow with, like in a dairy, if you've ever been on a field trip and you've seen that where they use electronics, that would be high tech. So tell me about that. And then we're going to go into lesson 1. So lesson 1 talks about John Deere. You've probably heard of John Deere, even if you are not so up on the ag industry, because it is a nationwide global company now. Most lawnmowers now are John Deere. But how he got started with a steel plow. And so I guess I'm going to have to look up a picture of the steel plow because they don't have it. So back in the day, they did not have tractors. They did not even have metal steel plows like I'm going to show you. So they just had to do everything by hand, and it just took so much time. They didn't have high productivity, high yields, anything like that. So John Deere, he really started the ag revolution with modernizing agriculture and speeding up production. Okay, so and this is not a picture of a plow. This is a picture of a combine today, how they use to harvest plants. This is a combine header. It hooks onto a tractor or to a bigger piece called the combine. And those are teeth down there. And what they do is they cut the plant that's going to be harvested. And then in the combine, it processes and it throws away all the bad stuff and it keeps all the good seed, like in wheat. And that helps to harvest the plant back in the day. And still with a lot of like fruits and vegetables, we had to use by hand to pick everything. So we've really come a long way, and this allows us to just produce that much faster. So let's talk about John Deere, because this is what kind of made his name. And the first thing that he started was a steel plow, and then it went from there. Now John Deere makes all kinds of agriculture equipment, lawnmowers to big combines to big tractors to everything. So John Deere, it was born in 1804, and 1837 is whenever he first made his steel plow. So he was a blacksmith, and he turned hay forks, horseshoes, and other essentials for life on the prairie. He grew up in Vermont and settled in Illinois. That's where the headquarters for John Deere are. And the tough clay of the Illinois soil was too hard for the plows that were made out of cast iron, which was the current material that was used. So working with his dad, he polished and molded a steel plow. And this steel plow was just way more durable, way faster. Through word of mouth, the demand grew, and by 1841, he was manufacturing 100 plows a year. Now you have to think, this is without social media, without trucks, without transportation, without advertisement. That is a lot for him to do, and he was making all of these by hand. So he grew really fast. And let me show you that plow. So this is how they plowed. This is how, and plowing is whenever you are tilling up the soil so that you can plant plants and grow. So there's a picture of Deere and Company. There's all those plows up there for sale. So they would hook these to a mule or a horse. Picture right there. And they would pull it, and the person would stand behind it and make sure it was in good rows. Okay, so that is a plow. That's the first steel plow. Very important. And so you can see the mechanics that he did. That way it would dig perfect little lines in the soil so that they could harvest. So let's look at today's plow. Okay, here's some pictures of some plows today. So you can see it's pulled by a tractor. We don't use horsepower anymore. We use tractor horsepower. And that can just plow the ground that much faster, right? So it's just crazy how far we've come. But we had to start off somewhere, and luckily Mr. Deere allowed us to do that. So it says it seems like farming's been around forever. Agriculture has, but farming really is fairly new. The modernization of it and the technology, and there's still lots of different technological advances being done today. The big thing now is drones, using satellite and GPS. So it's very technological advanced. There's a lot of high tech in agriculture that people don't realize. And John Deere, that was only about 150 years ago. So in a short amount of time, we have developed a lot in agriculture. And that's what we're going to talk about in this unit.